Well, hello everyone. I hope that you're all well and keeping fine and staying safe. Everything's fine here. It's a nice, beautiful, sunny day. Anyway, thanks for coming back to my channel. And today I've got a video about my experiences of following Arsenal in the 1987-88 season. Now, it was quite a remarkable season, to be honest. George Graham was the manager at the time, and he'd started introducing some of the youngsters from the Arsenal youth team into the first team. The youth team that had been all conquering a few years before. So, yeah, it was quite a great season. We saw the League Cup final defeat to Luton Town 3-2, which was an amazing game, but sadly we didn't win. And then there was the infamous Battle of Highbury when Millwall turned up with thousands of supporters, caused absolute mayhem in the ground and smashed up loads of the local community, terrorised the local residents. Yeah, so that was a really, really bad day for the club. So I'll be looking at those things. And we also had quite we had quite a good unbeaten spell in the beginning part of the season as well, and we went to the top of the league. So yeah, it was great. It was a really interesting and real roller coaster of a season. So I hope you all enjoy that, and I hope that you all, like I say, I hope you're staying safe. Now, please remember to make sure that you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done it. Please remember to like the video, and please make sure that you share the video around with people you might know, you think might like it, and yeah, just generally pass it around. So, you know, I'd really like to see that more people coming and subscribing and watching the videos. That would be amazing. So it's completely free as well. You don't have to pay to be a subscriber. So yeah, there's like I say, I hope you enjoy the video today and you find it really interesting, because it was a good one to make. Anyway, so without further ado, let's get on with it. Okay, so here we are. This is my story of me following around Arsenal between 1987 and 88. So let's get on with it. Now, this story for me starts with a pre-season tour that Arsenal went on to Scotland, and I went to Scotland to see one of the games. It was a game against Greenock Morton, or Morton as they were called at the time. And like I say, as part of the pre-season preparations, when Arsenal went on a tour of Scotland, and me and my pal Dave decided to go north to see the Morton game. While we were there, we went to see my mate Sandy, and when we were driving around his town, some heavily drunk guy stumbled out across the road in front of us and we nearly ran him over. However, what I didn't tell Dave was I knew the fella, but I didn't let on that I knew the guy, because yeah, it was quite embarrassing, to be honest. Anyway, Dave and I went to the Morton game, and before the game we had a quick look around the local area, and I think it is fair to say that Greenock is a place, well, at that time anyway, it's a place that had seen better days. And as proud of Scott as I feel I am, I found it quite depressing to see how run down the place was. I don't know what it's like now, but to me, when I was there, it was in desperate need of some regeneration. And I remember before the game, we were in the Morton Club car park, and when the Arsenal team coach arrived, and we had a quick chat with some of the players, and most of the attention seemed to be focused on Charlie Nicholas. But anyways, we had a quick chat with some of the players, and then we let them go on and do what they needed to do. And in this game, I remember seeing Nigel Winterburn play for Arsenal for the first time. And I also remember chatting with some kids who were Morton fans, and they seemed more interested to find out my opinions about Arsenal's fan base. More so, they were more interested in that than they were the actual team. Arsenal won the game by 1-0, thanks to a goal from Perry Groves. But it wasn't a particularly good game, I remember that. And then whilst in Scotland, Arsenal also played Ayr United, a game which they won 6-0. And on the 1st of August, Arsenal ended their tour of Scotland by defeating Celtic 5-1 at Celtic Park. And at the time, Celtic were in a bit of a transitional period, and I don't think anyone was particularly surprised that they lost the game. Maybe by the manner of the defeat, that because it was quite a heavy defeat, but no one was really surprised that they lost the game. Anyway, so finally, on the way back home from Scotland, my mate Dave kindly took me over to Paisley so that I could see my friend Rosalind, and I collected her small portable TV from her so I could take it back down south to England for her. So yeah, that was our tour of Scotland. Now, in the pre-season, or in the 1987-88 season, Arsenal made a few signings. They brought, and during the course of the season, Arsenal brought Kevin Campbell up into the first team squad from the youth team. Brian Marwood, who signed for Sheffield Wednesday on the 1st of January 1988 for £990,000. And Nigel Winterburn, who was signed for Wimbledon for £660,000 on the 1st of July. Lee Dixon was also signed from Stoke for 770,000 on the 29th of January 1988. And Kevin Richardson was signed for 248,000 on 26th of August. And he came from Watford. Now, there were also quite a number of outgoings during that season as well. And the major ones were Charlie Nicholas, who moved on to Aberdeen. Viv Anderson moved on to Manchester United. Graham Ricks was loaned out to Brentford, and Nicky Hammond went on to Swindon Town. And Ian Allison moved. He moved to Stoke City. So here we are. Well, this is the Arsenal team group from 1987-88 season. And you can see George Graham sitting there in front of the Littlewoods Cup trophy that they'd won the year before. Paul Davis is there. Rocky Rocastle, Gus Caesar, who I wasn't a particularly big fan of, by the way. I didn't think he was that good, to be quite honest. It wasn't as bad as some of the defenders that Arsenal have got now, but he weren't that great, to be honest. Michael Thomas, a great player, great hero, Arsenal hero. And funnily enough, I'm not sure many people know this, but when he first came into the Arsenal team, he played as a right back. Martin Hayes there, Tony Adams, Kenny Sansom, and the reserve team goalkeeper there, that's a chap by the name of Reece Wilmot. Okay, so the first game of the season, Arsenal played Liverpool at Highbury, and Liverpool turned up in a change kit of like a silver grey kit. And to be quite honest, it was quite a difficult game for Arsenal because Liverpool came and they, despite me feeling quite optimistic after the previous season's exploits, I do remember feeling really concerned about this game on my way up to Highbury. And my fears were brutally confirmed when Liverpool won the game far easier, in my opinion, than the scoreline suggests. And to be honest, their front three of Peter Beardsley, John Aldridge and John Barnes ran us ragged in that game. I also remember this game because Michael Thomas played, like I said, at right back, which is where he started his career when he came into the team. Other youngsters who were playing were Tony Adams, David Rocastle, Martin Hayes, and Alan Smith made his debut for the club in this game. So yeah, it was quite a difficult afternoon, I think, for Arsenal is the best way to describe it. The next game saw Arsenal, did they win? No, the next game that I can remember was on the 29th of August when Arsenal beat Portsmouth 6-0. And I remember this game because it was the day that Arsenal's poor start to the season came to an end. As before this game, Arsenal failed to win any of their 3 opening games of the season. When they lost 2-1 at home to Liverpool, they drew 0-0 away at Manchester United and lost 2-0 away at Queen's Park Rangers. This emphatic 6-0 victory over Portsmouth, though, started a 16-game unbeaten run in the competition. And the other reason I remember it was because it marked the game that Alan Smith had scored his first goals for Arsenal. And in fact, he scored a hat-trick. And Arsenal's other goal scorers that day were Tony Adams, David Rocastle and Paul Davis. So the next game I can remember from this season was on the 12th of September, when Arsenal defeated Nottingham Forest 1-0 at the City Ground. I can remember listening to updates to this game on the radio, and I also remember watching Alan Smith's goal on Match of the Day. And it seemed that now Alan Smith was now really up and running for Arsenal with his goal scoring, which was good because he'd only been at the club a short while and he certainly found his feet. This game also saw Arsenal start a 14-game winning run, which was ended on the 21st of November 1987 when they lost 1-0 at home to Southampton. Then the next game I remember is on the 19th September when Arsenal entertained Wimbledon 3-0 at home. And I remember before this game, I was chatting with my mates on the North Bank. And I remember I felt quite anxious about this game because I wasn't sure if Arsenal would be able to handle Wimbledon's extremely direct and physical approach, which was the reputation they had. And I was worried that Arsenal wouldn't be able to cope with it. But my mates were going, no, we'll be all right. Arsenal will just play around them. We'll have too much technical ability for them and it won't be a problem. But I couldn't be convinced, and I was very much like Fraser from Dad's Army, and saying things like, we're doomed. But anyway, I needn't have worried because Arsenal won the game comfortably by 3-0, with the goals scored that day by David Rocastle, Alan Smith and Michael Thomas, who scored a penalty. Now, the next one was away at Charlton Athletic, a game that was played at Sellers Park, because during that time, Charlton, I think they were having work done to the valley, because I can't remember all the details of it, but for a period they had moved away from the valley, and I think they were going to sell the ground or something like that. Anyway, they weren't playing at the valley and they were ground sharing with Crystal Palace. So the night before, I'd stayed with my friend who lived quite near to Sellers Park, and she could hear the game. She could hear the fans from her house. And this is the same woman who I brought the TV back from Scotland for. So I stayed the night at her place, and then I went off to the game, and she went and done her bits and bobs. And I remember this game because I've got really frustrated with the referee during the opening stages of the game, because he kept booking all our black players. So I called him out. I said, "Well, you racist or something, mate." The next thing, and then what happened then, the next thing I knew, this copper lifted me up off the ground with one hand and dragged me off the ground, and I got hauled into this room, had my photograph taken, and got hurled out of the ground. So yeah, that wasn't too good. So I made my way back to my friend's house, sat there. She was a bit surprised to see me, but she thought it was quite funny about what had happened and was teasing me mercilessly about it. Anyway, so the next game was on the 10th of October when Arsenal played Oxford United 2-0. This next game, when I say the next game, it means the next game that I can remember. And I remember that along with my mates I used to watch Arsenal games with, who stood with me on the North Bank, we were all pumped up for this game, mostly because of what had happened the previous season, when we got frustrated with Oxford United's tactics. And thankfully for us, Arsenal had a fairly routine victory thanks to goals from Steve Williams and Paul Davis. So we didn't really worry too much because it was quite an easy victory. Then the next game was probably the North London derby that I enjoyed the most, apart from the League Cup game anyway, was when Arsenal played Tottenham Hotspur at White Hart Lane. Now, I remember going to this game at White Hart Lane and being extremely hungover, and the day or two before the game, it came out that David Pleat, the Tottenham Hotspur manager at the time, had been arrested for curb calling. And to be honest, I expected the Arsenal fans to give it to Tottenham with a bit of banter. But the Arsenal fans absolutely destroyed David Pleat, and it lasted the whole game. The Arsenal fans had come well prepared, and all throughout the game, the Arsenal fans were throwing around inflated blow-up dolls and condoms, and there were also chants of sex case, hanging. And on the pitch, Arsenal swept Tottenham aside fairly easily by 2-1, thanks to goals from David Rocastle and Michael Thomas, which saw Arsenal stay in third place in the First Division table. And then 2 days after the Arsenal Spurs game, I believe Dave Pleat was sacked, unsurprisingly, I guess. So yeah, that was quite an eventful North London derby, to be honest. Then on the 14th of November, Arsenal went up to Norwich. They won by 4-2, and I remember seeing the highlights of this game on the TV. And it was also the game that unfortunately marked the end of Arsenal's winning run in the league. It was the last game they won before they started losing a few games here and there. Norwich took the lead in this game and were 1-0 up at half-time. In And in the second half, from what I can remember, Arsenal powered into a 4-1 lead with goals from David Rocastle, who scored 2, Perry Groves and Michael Thomas. The pick of the goals for me was David Rocastle's first goal, which was a diving header from just inside the penalty area. And then the following Tuesday, Arsenal also comfortably beat Stoke City 3-0 in the League Cup 4th round, which was the last game that Arsenal won in their winning run in all competitions. After the game against Norwich on the 14th of November, Arsenal sat at the top of the English First Division as they'd been winning, as they won away 1-0 at Newcastle United on the 31st of October 1987. And Arsenal stayed top of the league until they lost 2-0 away to Watford on the 28th of November that year. After winning against Norwich on the 14th of November, Arsenal would only win 7 more games in the league out of their remaining 25 league games. So then then the next game was on the 9th of January 1988, and it was FA Cup 3rd round day, and Arsenal played Millwall at Highbury. Now, those of you who don't know, Millwall supporters have got a really, really bad reputation. And for this game, absolute chaos descended on North London when Millwall's notorious supporters, who were playing in the 2nd division at the time, came to play Arsenal in this FA Cup 3rd round tie, and they just run amok, basically. They smashed up the local area to overturn cars, smashed windows. They just completely wrecked 2 pubs, and all in the week leading up to the game, there were stories in the papers saying that the Millwall fans were going to come to Arsenal and take the famous Arsenal clock back down to the Old Kent Road. Now, which for those of you who don't know, London is for those of you who don't know, the Old Kent Road in London is right in the middle of Millwall territory. So for this game, I decided to buy myself a ticket in the East Stand lower tier because I was sure that there was going to be some trouble. And when I came out of the Arsenal tube station that day, there was a horrible atmosphere around the place, and I thought the best thing I could do was to get inside the ground. So I went and took my seat, and I couldn't believe how many Millwall fans there were. They were everywhere, and they had at least half of the clock in, and they had fans in both the West and East stands, as well as the North Bank. I mean, because I remember being sat in the East Stand, and there were a group of about 4 Millwall fans sort of sat a couple of seats along from me, and they were fine. They were quite noisy and loud, but they weren't aggressive or anything. So I didn't mind that. It was just that a fact about what happened during the game. Arsenal raced into a 2-goal lead through goals by Martin Hayes and David Rocastle. And I can't remember when, but at some point during the first half, it appeared as though there was some pre-arranged signal or trigger, and the Millwall fans in all part of the crowd started to kick off. And the Met Police seemed to be struggling to contain the violence. I remember seeing several people being arrested and people on police officers being carried out on stretchers. It was an absolute nightmare. And so just before half time, I started to have serious concerns about my own personal safety, and I found I was not able to concentrate on the game. So I took the decision to go home at half time, which was what I did. Over the years, I've heard and read lots of stories about what the Millwall fans did that day when they came to Highbury, which involved smashing up pubs to the point where they had no windows left in them. They completely trashed a tube train at Arsenal tube station, and local families were having to lay on the floor in their homes, and they smashed up countless cars. They put all the windows in people's homes, so that's why people were laying on the floor trying to avoid flying glass and stuff like that. Because I know a good friend of mine, she was born and brought up in around Islington, and she told me about it, and she remembers her dad telling her and the rest of her family to lay on the floor. So that must have been absolutely terrifying. So then after this, the next game that I remember was on the 20th of February 1988, which was the FA Cup 5th round. Was it that? Yeah, there was an FA Cup 5th round tie against Manchester United, and this game I remember because Arsenal went into a 2-goal lead, and Brian McClair managed to pull a goal back for Manchester United, and the second goal that Arsenal scored, Perry Groves tried really hard to claim it for himself, bless him, but it was clearly an own goal. And then right at the end of the game, Manchester United won a penalty. And before Brian McClair stepped up to take the penalty, Nigel Winterburn whispered something into his ear. And Brian McClair then blasted the penalty over the bar. And Arsenal won the game 2-1 to move forward to the 6th round of the FA Cup. Unfortunately, though, Arsenal would lose 2-1 at home to Nottingham Forest in the next round to crash out the FA Cup in the quarter-final stage. Then, 4 days later, on the 24th of February, Arsenal would play Everton in the League Cup semi-final, second leg at Highbury. Arsenal had won the first leg 1-0 at Goodison Park on Merseyside. So I remember feeling quite confident of progressing to the final, but I did have some concerns because of our poor league form at the time. Now, I travelled to Highbury for this game with a work colleague of mine and her boyfriend, who were both mad Everton fans, and I remember them not being very confident at all. And this gave me a little bit more confidence. The game itself in the first half, David Rocastle, bless him, missed an open goal, and we also missed a host of other chances. And if I remember correctly, we also missed a penalty. Now, in the second half, Arsenal turned the screw and we won the game 3-1 with Michael Thomas opening the scoring, and David Rocastle and Alan Smith also scored. So we ended up winning the tie by 4-1 on aggregate. So we had reached the League Cup final for the second year in running, and I was absolutely delighted. And the celebrations on the North Bank that night were absolutely mad. It was madness. It was just complete and utter pandemonium. Then, on the 24th of April, we had the League Cup final at Wembley, where Arsenal played Luton Town. Unfortunately, though, Arsenal lost the game by 3-2. And I went to this game with quite a lot of my friends, Arsenal supporting friends. And at Wembley Stadium, I was feeling really confident before the game. And I was fully expecting Arsenal to win the game very comfortably, particularly because Arsenal have been unbeaten against Luton Town through the course of the league season. So off we went. It was a beautiful sunny day and we were all dressed up in our Arsenal gear, and to a man, we were all very confident. The game started badly though for Arsenal, with Brian Steen scoring after the 13th minute. And then after this, Arsenal responded by playing with more purpose and were on the front foot, but they struggled to break the Luton Town team down. At half-time, Luton were 1-0 up, and then after an hour, substitutions were made, and Martin Hayes come on to replace Perry Groves, and Arsenal increased the tempo, and then Arsenal scored 2 goals in 3 minutes when first Martin Hayes scored in the 71st minute, and then Alan Smith scored 3 minutes later in the 74th minute. Arsenal now seemed like they could smell blood, and they went for the jugular, and Luton Town's keeper made several outstanding saves. I remember that, which included a penalty save from Nigel Winterburn after David Rocastle got brought down in the box. And they missed, like I say, a whole host of chances. And one of those chances that were missed, I remember if I remember correctly, Alan Smith struck a shot that struck the inside of the post, rolled along the goal line, hit the other post and bounced out and clear. Now, after the Luton Town goalkeeper saved the penalty, Luton seemed to draw confidence from the penalty save, and they scored 2 goals in 8 minutes to win an exciting game by 3-2. Anyway, I still don't know how Arsenal managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in this game, but they did. And after the game, a group of the guys who I'd gone to the match with just walked around Wembley for hours and hours afterwards. And apparently they never said a word to each other. But I just went home and I didn't want to speak to anyone or see anyone. I was too upset. The difference between my mood and my mood after the cup final the previous year couldn't have been bigger. It was just like chalk and cheese, really. So, yeah, that's what I can remember of the 1987-88 season. So, that season saw Arsenal finish 6th in the league. And let's just have a quick go through of the season. It was quite a dramatic one for me, really. We saw Arsenal start poorly in the first 3 games, but then things picked up when Arsenal went on a 16-game unbeaten run in all competitions. We saw them reach the League Cup quarterfinals and the top of the English First Division. The 16-game unbeaten run saw them win 15 games and draw 1. And then after losing 1-0 at home to Southampton on the 21st of November, the league form dipped somewhat and they fell down the league table. It did stabilise for a while though, from the 13th of February, when they had a 10-game unbeaten run in all competitions. And this unbeaten run included 4 successive draws between the 19th of March and the 2nd of April. In addition to this, we had the horrific events of Millwall coming to Highbury in the FA Cup 3rd round when they went on the rampage, not only inside the ground, but they terrorised the local community and smashed the place up. Then Arsenal ended the season in 6th place, like I said, and they had started to improve their defence, but we were still not scoring enough goals to compete at the top end of the table. The season also saw Arsenal integrating a lot of youngsters from the club's all-conquering youth team from a few years before, and I felt confident it was only a matter of time if they were managed properly before they would bring success to the club. So, yeah, in essence, that was Arsenal's season. And I've looked at other seasons throughout Arsenal's history. And that season was probably the 30th best season in their history. So not bad, really, for George Graham's second year in charge. And he got us up to 6th in the table. So I was quite confident about the upcoming season. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that and found it interesting and enjoyable, because it was quite an interesting one for me to do, I have to say. Okay, so that's it, unfortunately, everyone. It's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and it whetted your appetite for more of my videos if you've not been here before. If you haven't been here before, thanks very much for coming to watch the video and checking out my channel. I'm really, really grateful for that, and I'm really grateful for everyone coming over and watching my video. So, like I said before, please remember to like the video and share it around and subscribe. That would be absolutely fantastic. I hope that you all have a great day and that you're remembering to look after each other and talk to each other. And yeah, like I say, please remember to share some love and kindness around the world. That's the most important thing that we can all do at the moment. And yeah, I hope, like I say, you enjoyed it. Anyway, please take care, and I'm hoping to be back again next Saturday with another video for you, which I hope you'll enjoy. If you've got any ideas about what things you'd like me to cover or things that you'd like me to talk about in these videos, please let me know in the comments section below, and I'll see what I can put together for you all. Anyway, please take care. Thanks very much again for watching and subscribing. I really, really do appreciate it. Anyway, please take care. Bye for now. Bye.